That's my first live on YouTube. So I hope you're well. I just wanted to come here and talk about a few things. Um, I was called to come here to talk about being authentic and what it means, and actually what it meant for me. Because in my whole life, I would say until I was about 34 years old, you can guess my age, I was not authentic to myself. I just knew that in my heart that there was something more, that I could be more happy, that I could have a better life, but I just didn't know how that would be possible. So I'm gonna share a bit of that. But first, I always love to have a card reading for us, for all of us. I hope this is fine. This is the first time, so I hope it works well. I don't see your comments if you do. Oh yeah, I see them now. All right. So hi Pia, lovely soul. Happy to have you live with me. All right, so let's take a card for everyone, and then I'll share a bit more about my story. All right, answer the call. Beautiful card. Well, I have to say that being authentic actually was part of me answering the call. That's for sure. So I'm just gonna read that for everyone, giving the time to maybe some people to join us, and then I'll start with sharing more about me. Some people know me more than others, but it's always good to have information, right? And sharing with each other what worked, what didn't work. Also, sometimes it's good. Let me just find this page. So answer the call 36. Those are from Work Your Light. I love those cards. I'm gonna buy new ones soon, but for now, those are pretty good. Your guidance is divinely guided. You're being called to answer the call of your soul. It might be scary, it might not make sense, but if you trust your soul's yearnings, you will live. Sorry, you will live a life beyond what your mind could possibly imagine. Answering your soul's calling is not a one-time thing, rather a lifelong dance. Deep down, you're ready. You already know what you long for. What is your soul yearning for? Let me just make sure that I'm in Do Not Disturb, because I think it can kind of mess with everything. Whatever you're called to do, that is your calling. Don't overthink it. Don't wait for permission. Just say yes. Most people are waiting for a step-by-step plan before they take the first step. But intuition doesn't work like that. It takes faith and courage to answer the calls of your soul. And that's why most people don't do it. But you're not most people. You are exactly in the right place to answer your calling now. You don't need to know the whole plan. You don't even need to know where it is leading, sorry. Well, same for them. That doesn't sound like the I know, I was guilty of this step by step too. You must need to take the next step. Not one No one has ever had the complete perfect plan. There is no end destination. There is no right or wrong way to do it, and you do not need permission from anyone else. Sometimes the more resistance we have around answering our soul calling, the more important it is for our soul growth. How beautiful is that? Showing the card again. So I have to say it was exactly that for me. I love this card. It's so funny, right? Everything is so aligned all the time. But so let me share a bit more about me. Hi everyone that just joined. So I grew up in a family where, it was very, very dysfunctional, and I'm not the only one, I know that. So for me, I molded myself into being someone that would be people pleasing, because that's how I was getting attention, that's how I was getting love. If I was doing the right thing in my family unit, then I was getting the love I thought I needed, right? That's something we learn, I think, between 0 and 6 months. It's something we learn because we survive. We don't survive without love on this planet, right? I think you probably saw those studies. So I was the good student. I was, very, very, very nice. I was organizing birthday parties. I was always doing everything for everyone. I was thinking that was the glue to the family. And I don't know if it was my ego or it was just me finding a role in that dysfunctional family unit. And then more the years passed on, and then I grew up with family violence in the family unit, and then I went through a lot of sexual trauma myself within my family and outside of my family, and then it was just one thing after the other. I went through a lot, and I started doing drugs and drinking alcohol because I think it was just, I didn't care about anything at that point. I was just like, you know what, whatever. I'm just gonna go with these people that are also hurt and understand me, and whatever they do, I will just do it too, and hope for the best, whatever. And then through all of my life, I always felt there was more to life, that we shouldn't be struggling all the time. I always felt that there was a part of me that was not aligned with who I was, like if I was actually living a lie. So for as long as I can remember, people were going to me because they felt safe with me, because I'm a very non judgmental person and always been since I'm a child. And I always supported my mother, I always supported my dad, I even supported my brother in the ways I thought that were best. But I was not supporting me. And I'm making a pause here because, and I can, even right now, feel emotional talking about it, because it's so easy to lose ourselves in others. It's so easy to not see what we need. It's so easy to fix everyone's life, but not looking within what we need. What is it that I need as a person? So I was always super busy, never stopping. I went through high school, and then my obviously because I started doing drugs and things, and not really being the good student anymore after one specific event that was a sexual trauma. I kind of was like, you know what, whatever. I was 13 years old at that time, and I was like, whatever. I don't care about school anymore. I don't care about life anymore. So I'm just gonna do whatever I want. So my results at school were, the grades were not as good as they were when I was, younger. But still, I was looking for something outside of me to give me peace, and it was not working, obviously. And I pushed many trauma behind, until I started to have anxiety, until I had, like, those moments where you think you're gonna die because you're so anxious of what could happen. And then I was involved with men that were not good for me. They were very toxic. And at some point, I realized I was attracting a man that was exactly like my father was with me. My father had his own issues, and he didn't really give me any time. He was with, my mother and him, they had their issues, and it was fine, it was their life, but I was in the middle of it trying to fix things, but I was not receiving the love I wanted. So the men that I attracted after were not giving me the love I wanted either. They were just a reflection of what I did not have, of the lack of love I received from my parents, and that I was not still not giving to myself. And then, things evolved, and I traveled. At 24 years old, I traveled from Quebec City to Vancouver, and I was so eye-opening to me. I was like, oh my God, I can actually live without having all of this dysfunctional parent type of thing. Yeah, I'm reading the comments. What do I need to still feel? Yeah, exactly. And and then that's when I felt that I could be someone. So it's like, what, I was starting anew. I was in a new city. I had to learn English because obviously my first language is French. But I was just my eyes, my heart, everything was so open. If for those that went to Vancouver in Canada, it's just such a beautiful city. The mountains are huge. We have the water, the sea. It's green all year long. They don't almost don't have snow. It's just really, really beautiful. So from that point on, I could detach myself. So I did not know about any energetic attachment chakra thing by then. I think I started to learn about the law of attraction, and I think the secret book came out, and then the movies and all of those things. But I was not involved in that. I was a social worker at the time, but I felt that I could start being who I was. So I did not have so many masks, I believe, when I was in Vancouver. But then after a few years, I went back to Quebec, and when I went back to Quebec, all of those masks came back. It's like it was attached to my family. It was attached to the relationship I had, and what I was expecting of myself to be. Being authentic is hard because I am not like anyone else. And I'm gonna be making a post later. I channeled something very beautifully yesterday. It's hard not to fit in. I think that's why we have so much difficulties to be to being authentic. Because when you don't fit in, you have no space. You don't know if you're at the place. You don't know how to connect with each other. So I had always had been able to have friends because I'm a very sociable person, and I'm social. I like, back in the day I was a lot more social than I am now, but I like to laugh and have fun, but I was always trying to be what the people wanted me to be. I did that as a child, I did that as a teenager, I did that as an adult. And it takes courage to be yourself, because then you might not have the same contact with your family, you might not have the same friends, because they're used to who you were. They're not used to who you are now. So being authentic also clears your surrounding, but it gets you so much closer to who you are, to what you're supposed to be doing in life. That card that we had earlier, the answer the call, you can write from the beginning if you didn't listen to that part. But the part is that we cannot answer the call if we're just in our mask and the identities that we built up since our childhood. It's impossible. How can you actually be authentic and answer their soul calling? You have to listen to that. Your soul is calling you. I remember I was probably 14 years old, and I was telling my parents, I'm gonna travel the world. And they were like, yeah, right. you know, because it looked so out of the blue. But I always been so expensive. I'm in Mexico now, but I'll be somewhere else and somewhere else and somewhere else again. And it's okay, because that's my soul vibration. That's what I need, those adventure to be happy. I tried to be a social worker and a manager, but I was not happy. I needed to fit in the box. I couldn't be so creative. I couldn't bring someone to have a walk. It was not normal to have a conversation that was not in an office. And, all of those things, I tried in some places, doing paintings with people. You have no idea when you use your creativity what can actually be expressed through that, but it was not allowed from most of the places I worked at. So right when I had a PTSD, which was back in 2015, I remember an event that was really hard. You can watch my Dark Night of the Soul to have the whole story. But I remember a sexual trauma that was involving a member of my family, and from that point on, everything crumbled. And I was like, man, I'm living in a lie. This glue to the family I thought I was, I'm not. Because this family is not close. There's so many lies that people are comfortable with. I'm not anymore. And then from that point on, so many people I chose to stop talking to, because it was too hard for me. I was like, I'm not gonna stand and stay connected with people that do not love the essence of who I am. I will not let people tell me that my version of the story is not real. It is real to me. It might not be real to you. but the trauma I endured is real. And I'm not defining myself through that either right now. Of course not. But I needed to go so deep in this PTSD. For those that don't know what that means, it's post traumatic stress traumatic disorder. It's when you actually relive a trauma that happened. For me, it had happened 13 years before, and you think it's all happening all over again, and it's not. But your brain, because you actually did not process that trauma, it brings you back everything that you didn't process for you to be able to release. It's a gift. I didn't think it was a gift back then, but now I know it's a gift because now I know who I am. If that wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't be here talking to you on YouTube. I wouldn't have this business of supporting people in their spiritual journey, because I would just be stuck in those identities and the dark agenda behind staying comfortable in something you're not happy with in. You know, that 9 to 5 job, you're not happy. Yeah, but it's giving you the salary that you need. Yeah, but it's giving you the healthcare. Yeah, but this. Yeah, but that. But I know for me, I was always trying to change because I could not find um, where I was fitting. And not fitting in, as I said, is hard. But it's even worse when you realize you're not living your own life. You know, when you're living somebody else's dream. I think I was really happy to help others in social work, but I think it was somebody else's dream. I don't think it was mine. Because I did it and I was, yeah, that's fine. I love to support people. I always love doing that. But this work that I do now, this is my true soul mission. This is my calling. And at some point, we go through those really rough patch of life, those big trauma, so that our soul is like, you have to remember who you are. This is not who you are. Wake up to this reality. You have a lot more power than you think. And I'm saying that I'm full of shivers. And it's just so important for you to remember that. I remembered who I was because I detached myself from my trauma. I detached myself from the masks and identities I had placed upon myself to be loved by others. I wanted to go back to Vancouver. I went back, and then this crazy stuff happened in 2020. I did lots of courses, and then all of my beautiful spiritual gift came back. But I chose me. Everybody, when I left the first time my home, everybody was telling me, you're crazy, you don't even speak English, it's not gonna work. People will transfer to you what they think for themselves. And the projection of their fears are not your fears. So don't take them on. I know it's hard. Find people like us that have, we push the boundaries. I'm back in Mexico now. I lived in Mexico in my late 20s. And people are still like, oh, you're going with this Mexican guy. What's going to happen to you? You don't even speak Spanish. Well, now I speak 3 languages. And I'm happy. And I'm going to expand more and more and more. And there's no limit. You are limitless. And when you tap into your authenticity, this is when you get into the alignment. Everything falls before your eyes. The path is opening in front of you. And instead of having hoops to go through and all these obstacles, we have a lot of obstacles when we actually don't listen to our essence. We don't listen to our messages. When we are actually just trying to conform to a society that is making us feeling sick. That's when everything is a problem and we're having issues over issues over issues. So being authentic, yes, it means changing how you see yourself. It means loving you for the trauma that you so chose to endure until now. It is choosing to allow the release of these energetic attachment with your past. You don't need to be stuck and relive all of your past all the time. And we as spiritual, beautiful light workers, we can support you with that if you don't know how to detach yourself from that. But you know, because it keeps you in the loop that you are powerless. But it's not true, you're not. It's just a program. And the victimhood program, I'm telling you, I had it really ingrained in me for a long time. I was like, oh my God, I grew up in that family. Oh my God, you know, always have issues with my partners. When am I going to bring the perfect partner for me? But I needed to heal this heart of mine. You can't bring something that's higher frequency if in your heart you still have all of this trauma. You're still thinking you're a victim. You still think that things happen to you instead of for you. So all of these, they take years, right? I started my healing journey in 2011. It's not yesterday, and I know I'm not finished with it. But remembering that more you will allow yourself to be connected to that beautiful soul of yours, more you will receive the messages, and it will be easier and easier to be authentic. You know, a lot of people are telling me like, yeah, but I can't find my tribe. Okay, where can you be more authentic? And I think even for me, I'm asking myself the same question. I'm in a new city now. I want to bring people that are aligning with my energy. Of course, we all need those physical connection with others, right? We are human beings, soul with human experiences, but we need each other. So where can I be more authentic? You know, your tribe will remember your frequency when you are fully yourself. And I'm not saying it's easy, because the whole 3D matrix tells you it's not what's supposed to be. You're supposed to be conforming. You're supposed to do exactly like everybody else. Going to school, getting your degree, getting a house, having kids, and having a dog. You know? And when you're outside of that, because you feel that you have the different calling like I had, well, people think you're crazy, right? So you need to be strong. But just, you know, we are in that state right now where we can bring people into our life that have that same frequency. Hi, everyone. So, but you need to be authentic. I would recommend for you, if you can, just looking at the spheres of your life right now and asking yourself, where am I not 100% authentic? Is it in my relationship with my family, my partner, at work? I remember at work, for me, it was hard. I'm a super spiritual person, but when you're working in a very boxy institution, I used to work in mental health and addiction. So, you know, it was really boxy. I think some of the places were more flexible than others. But it was really hard to bring all of this stuff because people are scared. And most people in mental health, if they talk too much about spirituality, we know what happens to them. So, so it's also working through your own hoops and whatever you need to realign to who you truly are. And if people leave you, if people are not staying, it's because they were not supposed to stay. I've been having a lot of, you know, years with not so many people around me. I can tell you that. Have lovely friends online, but in person, it's been more challenging to find people that would actually understand even what I'm saying. If you're watching this live at this replay, it's because we connect. Because when I talk, you feel like this makes sense to you. But sometimes, you know, it takes time before we get in contact with these people. But the more you know what you need, and the guys are actually now intervening, they're going to be channeling through me as usual. But they say, like, you know, how many times are you actually not listening to your own heart? And that's like something very important. If you do not want to go a party, if you do not want to go to a dinner, if you do not want to do something, are you actually not doing it? Because you're actually respecting your wishes, your state of mind, and how you feel? Or you're going anyway because people are expecting you to do it? Yeah, I think I think what happened in 2020 was that after that kind of, it was hard because we were all like very you know, isolated. But then we were like, am I actually wanting to go to see these people? Did I miss them? Do I actually feel good with them? And I would feel in my heart, like feel in your body. I remember during, the latest part of the PTSD I went through, so maybe in 2017ish, then I would go to places, I would get super anxious before going, or I would get very very low, like my battery would be completely wiped out when I was back home, or in the way back home driving. I remember it when I worked 9 to 5, how exhausted I was. I knew nothing about the energy leakages that we can have, so that was not helping. But so it's all these things we need to just to connect to. Your body connects you to your soul. And I'm getting again emotional because when you went into any physical sexual trauma, you're not connected to your body. You're not. So you don't listen to what's happening inside of you. But we do that because we feel we're not even connected to source. We are all connected to source. We have to remember that. And all of the trauma, the challenges, everything that happens and actually makes a break into this, this cycle of working, 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 never stopping. Everything, if it's a big flu you have, if it's an accident that you have, whatever is breaking this kind of cycle is for you, because your guys are like, we're talking to you. Your soul is like, I'm talking to you. You don't listen to anything because you're not connected. You think you're not connected. And sometimes we have implants and so many other things. But that will be for another video. So remembering that those events, they are actually happening for you, so that the messages that you need to get, you will get them. When we are laid in bed for a week, we receive the messages. Our guys, they know that. Your higher self knows that. If your physical body does not work properly and you're super exhausted, you will receive the messages. Maybe not if you're super, super tired, but maybe what you need is resting. That's what's happening too. My dog is like close to the camera. So remembering that everything that happens to you is for you to receive the messages because you have a calling. Everybody has a calling. You're not an exception. Everybody has a calling. And you will be able to receive these messages as much and as easy as possible if you align with your heart. So I need to drink water now. 27 minutes in. So everything, it's like if we're in a big theater matrix, and you can stay in this matrix and live your life and be not happy but continuing doing it because you think that's the only thing you can do because you're powerless. Most people that's in that state, they're very implanted, they're very very fragmented at the soul level. But if you're watching this video, you're ready to get activated at the DNA level and remembering that you're so much more than that. You're so much more than that. And I know there are stages. When I had this big event of reliving this trauma I had back in 2015, I was not feeling powerful, let me tell you that. I pushed through everything. I continued working until at some point I needed to take a break. I took 3 months break, and then that 3 month break was when I reconnected with painting, and I tried a few, and I was like, you know what? The painting that's abstract does not bring me in that perfectionism that always been running into my field since I was a child. So let's try this one. And then so that space that I created, that empty of occupational any of tasks, I had more time to spend with my dog. I had more time to spend outside, and I was lucky because it was actually spring, summer, so the time, of the year, the best time of the year in Canada, to have like a break. But so many things got into me. I reconnected myself to source then. And I want that for all of you. You're all connected to source. And we have so many implants, as I said, and that could be something that we work one-on-one on that. I might do a video on that if you're interested in learning more. But You are all connected to source, and once you remember that you are part of soul, of source, or your soul is part of source, then you have no limit in what you can create in your life. And I know it's hard because we all have a trauma. We all have a lot of challenges we went through. And there's this space, this void space. I talk a lot about this void, um, where we feel there's nothing in front of us. I lived that void back in December and a bit a couple months later. But here I'm in a new city with this beautiful lake. I feel the energies, birds. I see bats every night. There's something happening for me, but I followed my guidance. I followed that I needed to change cities. Even if everybody was like, you're not gonna see the sea anymore, you crazy, it's perfect where you live. Yeah, well, if it's not matching my own frequency, I have to go. I've always been like that. And I'm not running away from something, I'm running to something. And that's something I had to learn because I tried to conform so many times, but I was so sad. It killed my soul to stay in Quebec, where I'm from. It killed my soul to not travel. If I would have stayed and did the same thing as everybody else, because I asked myself, why don't I have kids right now? I don't have a kid, a partner, a house. I don't have that. It looks like everybody has that. How many times did I actually ask myself if I was, maybe I was crazy not to want that, or maybe it was not okay for me not to want that, because everybody pushes you to go towards that, because everybody does that. But those are programs. You do not need to have the same programs as others, right? You can have your own authentic self telling you what it wants. If you always dream to go in South Africa, go to South Africa. I know I want to see elephants in the world. I told a few people that somebody beautiful soul that's in Sri Lanka right now, and I have, I'm speaking with people around the planet, which is beautiful. But that's the part, there's a reason why I want to go to Bali. I want to go to Japan. I'm going to go to all of these places because my soul wants it. And I'm not crazy for wanting that. And I want you to remember that if there's anything lighting you up, whatever that is, there's a reason. What's required of us in 2023 and beyond is reconnecting to what lights your heart up. So what it is for you can put it in the comments. What do you love? I know some of you like the sea, some of you like to fish, some of you like to hike like I do. What it is that you feel good about. I'm gonna read a few comments. I feel like talk a lot. Yes, I got a phase. Wait, was difficult removing myself. I kept asking myself, what if I can learn from this? Yeah, all situations, there are actually, when we say that our life is pre-written, it is and it's not, right? We chose as a soul the challenges. We chose as a soul what was gonna actually make us awake to our essence and who we are. Travel, horseback riding, ballet, passion. Yeah, exactly. Those are the things. The more things that you're going to be doing that are aligned with you, with your essence, the more you will feel the flow. The flow is so important. The flow is one of the most important part, and it's the most hard thing to learn, because we are in this matrix where they say you have to do this, and it's normal to be 2 hours in traffic, and it's normal to be tired in the morning but having to wake up and go to work, and it's hard and it's hard and it's hard. This is the normal life. No one is happy in that life, but it's the normal life. But if you tune into your passions, then you will discover for you what are the path for you. And yes, some of the challenges, they were preordained, of course, because you're so new. You are going onto this earth plane to actually release and clear so many things. We're in the very, very important part of the soul, the soul and the earth evolution right now. So that's one part. But if you allow all of these passions to actually move you, and they're help you navigate this life, then you will see different options in front of you, right? If we're always in that conformity of this box and we feel bad in it, and we never go outside of that box, why would be the options different? They would always be the same. That's why we feel depressed and sad and angry and resentful, because we're just like, oh, it's always the same over and over and over again. I'm tired of it. Of course we are, because your soul is an expanded being. In my the post yesterday, I just remembered that sentence. I think it's one of the most powerful. It's so short, but your expansion is inspiration for yourself, inspiration for others. Your expansion is inspiration. So remembering that every time you extend, you inspire yourself to expand more. You help others, inspire others to extend themselves too, right? So being in a box is not being authentic. If everybody is the same, there is no authenticity, and we can feel it, right? When you meet someone that's not in in their own authentic self, how do you feel with that person? How does that sound in your heart? How do you feel with that person? I know for me, I'm very, very good at, analyzing with my third eye, not my brain, my third eye, how people are reacting to what I'm saying, or how people are actually, connecting to me. And if I feel they're not authentic, well, I'm probably gonna step away from these people. Because if I am my authentic self, I want also to connect with people that are authentic. Right? All right, so that's kind of my talk for today. You have any questions before I leave? I'm always there. I'm kind of learning to see how the chat is going here, because it's my first live here. Thank you. Gracias, Angel. Yeah, all right. I saw the chat. That's good. So, yeah, so this message today was just to invite you in looking within what is actually true to you, how you can be more authentic to who you are, and seeing that even if I went through all of this trauma, I am still now here in front of you, and I want you to believe that you can also do something that lights you up, that you do others, that you can be who you are and feel safe to be who you are, because you're a loving soul, and that other people with the same frequency will recognize you and connect with you as much as you can be authentic in your own daily life, although it might be difficult. Remembering that you are a beautiful being of love, and that you can create anything you want in your life. And I'm not saying I don't have to still clear and heal and have healing sessions myself. I mean, we came here to clear ancestral lineages and so many other things. So I know I still have a lot of work to do, but I know that you also, once you choose yourself, you can be happier in your life. And that's what I want for all of you. Being your true authentic self will bring you everything that you want in your life. So I'm sending you so much love. Thank you for joining live or watching the replay. Please put your comments. Put a like if you want me to expand on any of the themes I talked about today. Please put it below, and I'll come live again soon. Much love to you all. Bye.